What's up, everyone, and welcome to the first ever edition of the One Timers Hockey Show. We've got the Hurricanes and the Lightning coming up later here in a couple of minutes. Uh, Super excited. It's a brand new season for the Hurricanes. I think the Hurricanes, we should expect great things for them this season. As far as the Tampa Bay Lightning goes, they had a difficult postseason. Uh, they've definitely lost a couple of guys, but especially leading the way was Ryan McDonough, who ended up with the Nashville Predators. Uh, this should be an interesting match. I think that the Hurricanes are interested to see how some of their younger defensemen are going. It looks like when you look over everything, Field, Coughlin, uh, Honka, and Mendel are all playing on defense tonight, with Pesci and Shea being the veterans on defense. Forward lineup looks very much like the top three lines are probably what we're going to end up seeing for Hurricanes. Leading with Jarvis and Carolina. Second line, we were looking with uh, Natchez, Kakiniemi, and Svechnikov. Third line was with Stahl, Stasny, and Jesper Fast. And then the fourth line, it's a little bit of a makeshift fourth line with Stormwall, Hoshin, and Pedersen. Uh, Anderson's got the start tonight, so I think Anderson should be. It's essentially been said that Anderson's going to get a majority between Anderson and Randall. Both of them are going to get several starts the preseason going into the regular season, which is good for the Hurricanes because at the end of the day, the issues that they had with in the postseason was, I think, goaltender related. A little bit was also related as well to their poor defense. But I definitely think that the Hurricanes had Anderson in net. I think we would have definitely gotten out of the Rangers series on top. So I'm pretty pumped to start. Let's see how this goes. Looks like the Canes are off to a good start so far. Tampa's breaking it out. Tampa's always going to end up being a faster team. You have people like, with Stamkos and Kucherov playing, you're always going to have a quick draw. That's why the Hurricanes, I think, this season especially, end up matching well against them in the playoffs. You know, with them losing McDonough, that's a big body on defense. They still have Hedden back there, but I think that the Canes would match up way better with it than what they are now. Turbine around Aho. Aho needs to get it out to the point, swing it out wide. That was a bad shot. So, good whistle. Looks like there's a decent crowd in there tonight. But yeah, I think this is going to be a good season for the Hurricanes. I can tell. I'm hoping that Teravainen took his off-season workout seriously. I know there were reports last year came out saying that, or suggesting at least that he wasn't all in on the team. He had issues with gaming, and Brendan Moore had to bring it to his attention that he's a professional hockey player. He needs to be there. And it sort of kind of seems like Teravainen would go games where he sort of kind of just would check out and not really be involved in the game. But I always worry when players win cups really early on in their careers, as far as how hard are they going to push to to continue to better themselves, especially after once you reach the mountaintop, once you've gotten that Stanley Cup. I think that it's it can go either way, So looks like we got a full scale line change. I'm not really big on Dylan Chatfield so far. I haven't really seen too much from him. We didn't see a whole lot from him last season, and everything that I've read as far as prospects polls just doesn't have him really high up on the list. It's a really good chance for Stahl and Fast. So I guess we'll sort of see how that all plays out. Guys, feel free to comment. Say what you guys are thinking. I'm all for inclusivity and everyone chipping in. Like I said, I'm here to make this more of a community than anything else. So, but so far, I guess the game's kind of going how I would expect it to go. It's kind of quick. I don't expect much physicality from this. Both teams just definitely want to stay healthy going into the regular season. But I think a couple players that wasn't really big on the Hurricanes looking at was Ryan Dzingel. The first season Dzingel was here, I was all for him. I thought he was great, but it just seems like he sort of tapered off in the playoffs, which I guess sort of kind of understandable. And then he ended up getting scratched. This wasn't last year's, year before last. So I don't know. I feel like not really big on him. Then yeah, it is the feed. It's the direct feed from there. So normally with the preseason games, they give Trip Tracy and all of them the nights off. They really don't cover too much. They might do interviews and whatnot, like intermission, but they're not actually going to speak too much during the game. But actually, I take that back. It looks like he is talking. So like I say, it sort of goes either way with how they want to end up. I've seen there've been previous years, especially when John Forslund was here, where he didn't really do preseason games, and would just be the feed. So, but I mean, so far so good though. I like I said, it's I'm just excited that hockey's back. At the end of the day, Anderson's looking really good too. He's I think maybe a little bit square to that shot, but with it being such a low percentage shot, I think you're sort of kind of good to go. As far as lines go, I think lines. I don't necessarily like Jarvis playing with Turbo and Aho. I think Jarvis might be a little bit better suited playing with Svechnikov on that. Oh, good. Oh man, should have had that one. That was close. But I think that Jarvis would mesh better with Svechnikov. I think because Seth Jarvis is very much an independent playmaker, meaning like he could definitely make the play as far as making the first pass, making it be a nice crisp first pass. But sometimes that's something we tends to do a little bit more of as opposed to shooting. And Svechnikov is just so much more dominant shooter at the end of the day. I think that that would sort of work better for him. But yeah, it's been so far so good though. The Canes are looking good. The breakout is it's always interesting, especially in the preseason, looking at the breakout. The breakout is sort of gonna let you know where the team is, and the same thing with the forecheck, right? If it's almost like clockwork. Whenever you're watching the Hurricanes play, if the first period, if they're not forechecking the way they need to, they're having issues getting the puck out of the net or getting the puck out of the zone. Excuse me. It's sort of kind of indicator of how the team's going. That was what was so frustrating throughout the playoffs. It seemed like every single player ended up like having slow starts and whatnot. And so it was just a little annoying at some points in time. So, but good save. All right. Interesting to see if the power play can get to. I feel like sometimes the power play has been very much the Achilles heel for the Hurricanes. When it's on, it's up, it's just fire, it's hot. But it's sort of like what we saw with the Rangers series in the playoffs. If it gets off or it's not, it starts losing some steam. It can really hurt, honestly, because you get into such a rhythm playing 5-on-5 hockey. But whenever you're on the power play, it's almost like you breathe a little easier, and then the penalty killers have to work harder because they're down a person. So you give especially so once that power play is killed off, you give the other team so much momentum, and it really killed the Hurricanes last season. But so far, good rotation with what's going on here. Uh, love to see them cash that in right there. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if to see Pesci in the play on the power play come next season. So let's see here, Jarvis. You like to see a little bit more commitment to the you know to taking the shot because I was in and out. Then again, this is like I said, this is definitely preseason, guys. So I'm not. I think that it'll come. So that's too many. Surprised they didn't call that. I definitely think the future of the Hurricanes is going to end up, revolving around Svechnikov, Jarvis, and Natchez. Um, you know, Aho's season is he's Aho's going to end up needing a new contract here way quicker than what most people think. Um, we signed that 5-year contract a couple of years ago, and we're already in year 4 of it. So essentially he'll play out the rest of this year, and then I'm really hoping that come next summer we go ahead and we get that extension locked in. Um, so all I'm saying is I think that the Canes need to be cautious going into this offseason because if they don't lock up that Aho contract pretty quickly, Aho's just not a player you want going to market, especially when we see Nathan McKinnon bringing home a $12.5 million AAV. He's 8 years, $12.5 million. That's just an absurd, just a ridiculous amount of money. Mind you, I'd say he's worth 10. I don't think 12 right now. And mind you, something to keep in mind is um, right now the Hurricanes don't have, or any NHL team hasn't been able to win a Stanley Cup with a player who's making more than $10 million a year. So, um, but yeah. So what are you saying? So is the feed just actually the video board? Am I not? That actually is the video board. Yeah, that is. Normally they keep. Um, no, we don't have the score in the corner. But yeah, that is definitely the video game feed. So, but yeah. So yeah, keep the questions and comments coming, guys. I'm all here for it. So, but it's gonna be. So I'm excited. I think I'm more excited to sort of see how Barrett Burns is going to play with Saban. I think that's going to be a really interesting um, dynamic because honestly, I was thinking about earlier today. I love the idea of Slavin and Burns playing together, but that's 100% as elite as it's ever going to be, right? But I feel like I'd like it a little bit more if we put Slavin and Pesci back together. We put Burns with Shea. Therefore, you're sort of going to have two um, elite level defensive pairs. Oh, that should have been in. That should have been in. So far, the Canes are looking good. They're buzzing hard. I know this is preseason. I'm not trying to not calling the Hurricanes Stanley Cup winners quite yet, but things that you like seeing early on. That right there. That's the perfect example. Hustling back. Breaking up the play, forechecking hard. You know, the forecheck is so make or break for the Hurricanes with how their system is set up. If you're not forechecking and pressing these guys correctly, like perfect example. Like we saw how Stahl was so far in, and then we sort of saw on the line change how everyone was back, how much more space they had to get into the zone. Things like that is so killer, especially in the regular season. Stuff to be mindful of and whatnot. This is the fourth line, that makeshift fourth line. I'm thinking Pashon's goal, his Svechnikov goal was pretty impressive. I don't know if you guys checked that out or not, but yeah, I think it's sort of kind of interesting uh, uh, to see if he can't push for the team. I sort of have that fourth line center position locked in on Drury. I can't imagine Drury not winning that position. He played 2 games and had 2 goals with Forrest, so I think that he should be in. Um, so yeah, hey, but yeah, Windows. So essentially, what you need to do is if you go to Carolina Hurricanes .com, they have a live feed there. The way I did it was I just essentially I have an iPhone and I'm streaming it to my TV. That's the only way you can see it essentially. Um, with it being preseason, once the regular season kicks in, Polly will cover everything. But yeah, that's way offsides. But yeah, just in case. The broadcast is. Oh yeah. So yeah, I think they did post it on Twitter. But if you just opened up your browser and whatnot and went to CarolinaHurricanes.com, it's like the game thing. Literally says here, I have it right here. Yeah, it's one of the preseason preview. Then the date first camp. If you click on that, you can scroll down a little bit, you'll see it. So where's everyone from? Uh, Personally, myself, I am from Raleigh, North Carolina. We currently live up in Virginia, but been a Hurricanes fan since day one. Oh, Jarvis. That's the second time Jarvis has mishandled the puck a little bit. But I'm not really worried about like little mistakes like that. I think Jarvis will be fine. He's just going into your second season, you're gonna be a little bit antsy and whatnot. But yeah, I think so far the Canes are looking great. Uh, can't ask for a better preseason game to start off. A little sloppy in a couple of areas, but as far as systems go, which is really what you want out of a preseason game, the Canes are looking great. So So it's my first time doing this, guys. So bear with me here. I'm trying to figure out things on the fly here. So anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys checking me out. I really do. Like I said, it's sort of kind of a new idea I had. I do have a website as well, onetimershockey.com. You guys want to check out blog posts and whatnot. I hate when people go through and say, hey, subscribe, like. I hate being that guy. So I'm going to try not to be that guy. But as always, likes and subscribes would be greatly appreciated. But I completely understand if you want to give me a couple games before you're going to see, hey, is this guy worth my time? So I do think the Canes have a really good roster right now. It sort of sucks with Patrick going down. I was really grateful to see that Gardner didn't play. I since pretty much I think the end of the first season where I was sort of kind of over it with Gardner. I felt like inconsistent play. We sort of kind of brought him in to be the power play guy, and he sort of kind of like couldn't handle that responsibility. So then the Dougie Hamilton trade sort of kind of came in, and that happened, and it just sort of kind of seemed like it was a lot of he got hurt, so he missed all of last season. And they said, "Oh, he's going to come back this season," and he didn't. I'm sort of kind of over that whole Jake Gardner experience. Um, it was nice because it's essentially gave us the room to be able to sign either the single if he makes it or Dahan, which if I had a preference, it probably would be Dahan over Dezingle. I think we've got enough young prospects, but I can understand wanting Dezingle in the room. Um, it gives you the opportunity to veteran leadership and whatnot. It's not necessarily a bad idea to have them there. Come on, Rep, get out the way, Rep. Pesci's gonna. Oh, that was close, real close. Lipsy Pesci has the ability to have just an absolute brutal shot. Um, I think I'm excited to see where Pesci can take that next step, right? Because he's a great 3-4 guy, but I think his full potential is a solid, isn't it? I don't want to say a number one, but definitely a number two. So I'm certainly curious if it comes out that Burns is better off on that second pair if Pesci isn't the one who does get promotion. But I would not be surprised at all if the promotion goes to Pesci over someone else. Ooh, Lord, that's some preseason hockey right there. Struggling right now, struggling. But I feel like Freddie Anderson he doesn't look very comfortable right now. So far, that's like I said, we're 12 minutes into the preseason, but so far he looks a little antsy. That replay, you can sort of see he's juggling it. When Freddie Anderson's on his game, he's one of the best. I think he is one of the best goaltenders in the league currently. But when he juggles things, he misses things, sort of kind of like that. You can tell he's sort of kind of second guessing himself. He's not able to absorb the shot, which is one of Tracy's favorite sayings. So I do think that you know I think Anderson will be fine. I'm interested to see what's going to go on as far as goaltending wise, because with us having the kid Peter Kucherov, you know, Kuch as they call him, I feel like he could definitely be a he'd be a solid member of the team moving forward. I just don't know if Anderson if they're going to make a big push to re-sign Anderson or how they're going to play that. So kids, everyone freaking out. All right. So sloppy play going back and forth here. I I'm pretty high on Natchez still. I think that last season was he sort of kind of let a lot of people down with his play. Um, I think the 2-year contract was probably the right call. 3 million. I mean, it's cheap, right? So you're just kind of giving him one last chance to prove that he can be a Hurricane. Because I think the Hurricanes were in a really tough spot this offseason. He wasn't really able just to be traded simply, you know? I think that, Canes weren't able to get back what they thought he was worth. And I would not be surprised at all come next season. Or come, say, for example, he puts up a decent, season and whatnot, and he goes through and he puts up 50 or 60 points. Uh, I wouldn't be surprised at all if they tried to move him, package him up with Bear or somebody, and maybe at first to get a top end player. Um, that penalty was that he, he came through. He busted through the neutral zone with a lot of speed. You like to see the defenseman pick him up a little bit quicker. Probably could have prevented that penalty, but then again, I mean, he stopped a goal, so I think that was fine. So, but yeah, Tripp makes a good point, which is the fact that a lot of these people are a lot. There isn't a single position where there's not. I wouldn't be surprised if someone gets bumped. Goaltending, I probably think is the surest thing of the top two, but then again, you never know, right? Look at what happened last season. Um, and you've got two goaltenders who both have a history of being injured at this point. Both of them are older now. It's sort of kind of like when a quarterback gets injured, right? It's the exact same thing because so many of these quarterbacks, these last couple of seasons are in their 30s now. If Tom Brady did something to his, Tom Brady's a little bit older, but if some of these quarterbacks end up getting a lower body injury at 30, yeah, there's not a whole lot of because I think both goaltenders are 32. They're the same age. Uh, if either goaltender goes down with another injury that's serious, that might be their career. Um, it's interesting that Anderson decided to come back to the Canes. It was a good shot, a good save. Um, Interesting that Anderson decided to come back to the Canes. He was originally drafted by the Canes, and then elected to go back into the draft. I want to say back in like maybe 2010. It was a little while ago, but it's I'm excited to see if Anderson can get it together though. Yeah, it's good. Canes are doing a really good job at clogging the neutral zone going into the defensive zone, which is exactly what you want to see. They ended up still getting possession of the puck in the offensive zone. Tampa did, but it's not horrible. You can sort of stuff you can sort of kind of deal with. Um, you'd like maybe that to be a little bit ooh. Um, oh, here we go, 2-on-1. Ah, that's not a bad play. Come on, Spetch. Except I think Spetch and Natchez are really going to be. Ooh, that hurt. You could tell that hurt. But I think Spetch and Natchez are really going to be, at the end of the day, where the future of this team. Oh, oh, they have Manny Legacy in that. They had Legacy's freaking agent, but yeah, they got through. Come on, cameraman. But so far, I'm not really big on the fourth line. These four guys. I think I'd much rather see Drury develop. You got Ryan Suzuki still, who's after that concussion, he really hasn't been able to get back to himself. And that's why those types of injuries that with players are so young, so detrimental to their development. Um, I've had a couple concussions myself. Mind you, I'm not anywhere near an NHL level caliber player, but I know that each time I had concussions slowed me down significantly, put me to a position where you know you're having to think a little bit more. You're having to keep a little bit more focus on skating and staying on your feet, and then just being able to see the game and think the game through. So I wouldn't be surprised. Ooh, that was tricky. Oh, he saved it. What a save! That was a great save right there. Great save. I do think Stasny will end up on the second line, honestly. Um, and this isn't to be a slight on Nature's or Kakiniemi, but I do think Stasny will can be that you know can be that centerpiece that you really need to be a strong second line center. Um, and I think one more year of development with Natchez and Kakiniemi just to kind of figure out that center position is hands down one of the most difficult positions. So not only you're responsible for all 180 feet of the ice. You really have to be good defensively and good offensively. We've been spoiled rotten with Jordan Stahl. We really have been. He sees the game so well, and people tend to bitch about numbers when it comes to like um, he's not putting up points. He's not, but he can shut down any line though. You know, you could put with fast when you had fast Niederauer and Stahl, that was about as elite of a shut down third line pair that you're ever going to get. Really, I mean, find someone else who's as dominant in their role on this team. You won't find anyone. Like so the only person who comes close is Slavin, just in pure dominance and what his role in the team is. But I do think that when Stahl walks, we're really going to be hurting next season. That's going to be really hard. That's going to be a really hard uh, hole to fill for sure. Yeah, I'm excited for Coglin. Will Aho be a goal leader? I think Svechnikov is going to take goal leader, but Aho will lead in assists for sure. It's this is something that I took on promise of being really good at. It's like player identification, right? So like Svechnikov has one of the most lethal shots on the team. After that, you've got Aho and Teravainen's got a really really good release as well. The biggest issue I have with Teravainen, he don't shoot the puck enough. Um, if it's a 2-on-1, it's a guaranteed pass by Aho, and that can get frustrating because if I can tell as a fan, that the uh, the opposing team's watching film and they're seeing that too. So, but anyway, guys, looks like we're wrapping this period up. I'm gonna grab myself another drink real quick. If you guys have any other questions, Window, I appreciate the questions, buddy. Um, but I do think this is a great start to the preseason. Um, Anderson's looking pretty solid, like I said. But anyone wanna throw out game predictions as far as goals? Right now, I just got the feeling of like a 3-2 game. I don't see more than five or so scored this game. Though I could be completely wrong. You never know. It's so hard to tell when you in these preseason games. Um, but Brindamore did say the fact that he would end up being Anderson would play the whole game. So anyway, guys, we'll take grab fill up my drink a little bit. Back in a couple minutes, but I appreciate you guys sticking around. It means a lot. Like I said, just starting out, trying to get started on this. 2-2 extra time goal by Canes. Love it. Sounds great. Sounds good to me. I love extra hockey as it is. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna go grab myself a quick drink during the intermission, and see you guys in 2 or 3 minutes. Thank you. All right. All right. Can you guys hear me all right? Also, if you see the dog coming around, it's four of them. Don't be surprised. So, but I definitely think it was a decent start for the Canes. I don't know if I necessarily if I'd be worried about anything. There wasn't any glaring mistakes that I saw that I was like, hey, Canes have to fix this. I do definitely think that Rod's been the captain, or not the captain, but the coach for what 4 years now, something like that. So thanks, buddy. He's been the captain for or the coach for 4 years now, and I think this might be the first season so far that I could definitely tell right out the gate. Um, thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. Um, it looks very very much like his team. Sometimes whenever you get coaches, it takes a couple of seasons to really start for that team to take on that full identity as far as you know committing to being in shape, um, committing to the whole being a pro thing. Because sometimes you hear about players who they make it. There's so much pure skill in them that they don't have to worry so much about the physical side. Your perfect example of that would be Phil Kessel, you know. And now he's up in Vegas. It looks like he's had to shed some pounds, probably because the coaches were like, "We're not in Arizona anymore. You're not playing it for Pittsburgh anymore. You're playing for a team that's trying to win a cup. So we want for you to come in here and be in shape." But with Brendan Moore, you could just tell everyone has that step in them already. There isn't, you know, during the playoffs last season, it seemed occasionally like those players were just exhausted. So I really, I sometimes I didn't worry about like how hard Brendan was pushing them, especially during the playoffs. But because Brendan Moore's known for having that eccentric workout routine, after games as well. So I'm thinking that at the end of the day, the Canes are going to be able to. The Canes are just looking good so far. So I'm happy with it, 100%. So, but real quick, I'm gonna check on a couple of things here. Right. So yeah, I definitely think the Hurricanes are looking great. So sorry, I'm trying to share this to make sure everyone can see it. Um, there's the last one. And I'm trying to share this with everybody. All right, cool. Back to it. So Anyway, so where are you from, buddy? Where you located out of? All right. Well, yeah, yeah, it is something, isn't it? Ian's about to wreck that coast. Oh, cool. I used to live in Apex. I went to Apex High School back in the day. So Apex is it's a crazy area. Uh, Back when I was in high school over there, like half of Apex was in there. Honestly, like I was over there off five and High House, and like so much has grown over there. It's ridiculous, but it's such a great area. That's hands down one of the best spots to be in. You're so close to everything, with the rink and the arena. You're also, you got Chapel Hills, what, 25, 30 minutes away over there off of, what is it, 64, 264, it goes right up there. But yeah, no, it's a solid place to live. Love it. Yes. But I am curious to see. I'm wondering if the Canes, if the Canes still have one more move up their sleeve. It wouldn't necessarily surprise me. I think that I do think that the 4 million opens up, an intriguing amount of cap space, right? Because you definitely could get yourself a uh, you know, solid 5-6 guy with $4 million. I think at this point in time you're going to be able to sign anyone. You probably have to trade, but something to consider as well, right? Say for example, if you packaged Bear and Natchez together, I think Natchez is at three. I think Bear is at two. That's five. Plus the four is $9 million. You know, so I saw a couple posts where people were talking about the possibility of Patrick Kane. I don't necessarily think the Canes could get Kane. I think that Chicago would want a little too much, but I do think that it is possible for a higher caliber player the Canes to bring in who does want to who wants to be on the move. Um, wouldn't necessarily surprise me at all. But I don't know. I think Stahl and Stasny is an interesting combo. You don't ever mind having two centers pushing. And the Charlotte Checkers get to the playoffs again. So okay, so something to keep in mind is the Checkers are now, I believe it's who is it? Oh, the Checkers are now um, Seattle's affiliate team. They're no longer Canes. Canes now have um, Chicago Wolves. So as far as the Checkers making the playoffs, based on the expansion draft and how that sort of kind of worked out for Seattle, I do think the fact that right now Seattle is, I would say, probably no at this very moment for Charlotte. So the reason why I'm saying that is because you have to realize Seattle's an up and coming young organization that's drafting mad crazy, right? So they're going to want their better players to be on the actual roster for Seattle because there is no depth right now with Seattle. So like their first round pick, right? That they just got, this Shane, right? If I'm not mistaken, right? He is going to end up playing for them next season, and if he doesn't, it's going to be a complete shock to the hockey world, right? But say for example, if we didn't have a first round pick this year, but on average, our first round picks don't necessarily have to go um, uh, Okay, so you're a Checkers fan. Oh, cool. Oh, nice, cool. Yeah. So I, I don't think the Checkers will make it this year, but I think that they're sort of in that rebuilding stage. Okay, cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I don't think that the Checkers will make it this season. It would surprise me because, like I said, Seattle is going to take anyone who's decent at hockey and bring them and pull them up to the NHL level. Once sort of what happened with the Hurricanes was they were bad for so long that we got accumulation of good, second, third, fourth round picks. Those guys had time to blossom in Chicago before coming up to Carolina. But Seattle doesn't have that right now because there's such a young franchise and organization. But I do think the fact that I've gone to a couple of Checkers games out in Charlotte. So much fun. I think I went for like dollar beer night. That was a hot effing mess. Complete hot mess. So, but it was so much fun. Great. Charlotte is such a great time. In 2006 when I was 5. Are you talking Charlotte Checkers or are you talking Canes, buddy? Um, 2006 was such a great year for the Canes. Oh yeah, yeah, for the Canes, yeah. I went to a couple games that season as well. Uh, it was a lot of fun. Like you just, it's good when your team is the team that you're cheering for is just a good solid franchise, And back then, this was before Canes started losing a lot, but you know going to those games was magical because you had so many Hall of Famers on that team, right? You had Mark Recchi, Doug Armstrong. You've got all these guys, Glenn Wesley, Brenda Moore. Stahl, who I don't think Stahl's going to make it in Florida, but he'll definitely end up. I think he'll end up in the Hockey Hall of Fame for sure. I sort of was hoping. Uh, I don't necessarily think. I think Stahl should retire a Hurricane at the end of the day. I guess is more or less what I was saying. I think Eric Stahl he was so important to the 2000s hockey for the Hurricanes. Um, he's brought in 2004, 2005 in the draft. His rookie season or second season, he was such a standout player for the Hurricanes. I think he put up 100 points the year they won the cup in 2006. But yeah, I would like to see Stahl retire a Hurricane, and it's so weird, right? Because like whenever I think like retiring a number, you think Ron Francis, Glenn Wesley, Brendan Moore, right? But thinking of like an Eric Stahl caliber player, where he won the cup with us back in 2006, but as captain, he really didn't do much for the team. You know, I don't know, like how I would see that. I guess I would have liked it a little bit more if I think I would much rather have seen. Yeah, yeah, no, and Saul is definitely getting to that point where, well, honestly, both Stalls are right. I think Jordan's my age. I think he's like 32, 33, and I think Eric is like I want to say, God, if I'm not mistaken, he's like 36 maybe. With him being that age, he is definitely a good injury risk, but that's why I feel like if you got him for the right contract, like if he does make the team with Florida, he's looking at like a million, maybe a $1.5 million contract. Um, I would like to have seen if any team was going to sign to a PTO, I think it should have been the Hurricanes. I think it really should. I think that would have been a great way to send him off. If because if all we need him for is 4 line minutes and to be a big body in front of the net for for the power play, what he's not defensively liable. He doesn't become a defensive liability, right? Which is my thing. Which is why so many people had issues with him, right? Is he for as defensive as Jordan is, Eric is the complete opposite. Eric, it seemed like whenever you'd watch him, he'd take two big strides out of the offensive zone going back to play D, and like that was it. He'd coast all the way back in. And when you're a center, you just can't do that, right? Um, I would have really liked to have seen a little bit more from Saul when he was with us right before we traded him. But at this point in time, if he doesn't go if he doesn't make Florida sign into a day contract, so we can retire a Hurricane. Um, And I think that would be a good way of sending him off. Because for as much as you want to retire, like Eric Stahl, unless Jordan Stahl does something in this last year, he's with us. You can't retire Jordan Stahl's number. You know what I mean? Like there hasn't been enough of an impact on the organization that Stahl's done. Mind you, I love Stahl. Stahl's a great player. Jordan, that is, right? Um, but he's going to be known as, you know, he was captain for a little bit, and then Justin Williams came in and take over the captaincy. And I think the team thrived more under Justin Williams than under Jordan Stahl. So as a defensive player, I absolutely love Jordan Stahl. From a captaincy perspective, I do not like Jordan Stahl. I think that there's a lead by example type leadership, and then there's sometimes I need to be that, saying something a little bit louder, being able to clearly demonstrate, because some of those games it feels like last playoffs where someone needed to step up for the Canes, in those later playoffs. You said, who's this Gage guy for Tampa? Oh, let's take a look. Who exactly are you referring to, buddy? All right. The only thing that's really kind of sucks while having this speed up is I can't see shot totals or anything like that. So but all right, let's get back to the game. I, I feel like Nate just has the okay Gage. I'm not 100% sure off the top of my head, buddy. Once we get to this next whistle, I'll give him a proper look up. I was gonna say I think Natchez is. What are your thoughts on Natchez? I think that Natchez has a great has great potential. I think last year he just struggled towards especially the middle and back into of the season. Seeing like little things like that little pass right there by Chatfield. That's the stuff I'm sort of kind of worried about. You know, that taking that brief moment longer to settle that puck. 'Cause that puck rolled on him right at the last second. Um, but yeah, guys, let me know what y'all think about as far as players like Marty Natchez, someone who's sort of the fan base is definitely sort of split up with as far as how they feel about him. Uh, he has to do more this season if the Canes are going to be successful, hands down. But I'm also sort of expecting Jarvis to come out this season flying. I think that um, if there is a player who can really, so so I know Fleury was out there in Vegas for a little while. I think he ended up in Minnesota now. Or are you talking about Andy Fleury? Um, but yeah, I think that Fleury, Marc-Andre Fleury in Vegas was playing well. I think that they fucking did him wrong. Yeah, tender. Yeah, so I think that Vegas did him wrong at the end of the day. I think they decided to go with Robin Leonard, who's this season hurt, right? I think Vegas is committed too much to being the team who's in on every single player. And look at they're treating their players. They're treating their players like shit. To be frank, excuse my French, but like at the end of the day, right? So look what they did to Max Pacioretty. They traded him away for future prospects, right? And then you look what they did with Marc-Andre Fleury. Essentially, they traded him away after like he committed to being their guy for them because essentially they signed Robert Leonard. Um, and I just think that Fleury wanted to find a place to retire essentially, and when he left Pittsburgh, I think he thought that's what he had. And then so they traded him to Chicago. He has a god awful season with Chicago, and then they traded him over to Minnesota. I think he re-upped in Minnesota, if I'm not mistaken. But Marc-Andre Fleury is like just a fantastic human being, and I you know I've got family from Pittsburgh, so the 2009 season was very difficult for me because the fact that Canes ended up getting swept by the Penguins, but. Um, I definitely think that Fleury. I really wish they would have figured out a way for Fleury to stay with Pittsburgh. I think Fleury was a great Penguin, and he ended up making more money in Vegas and Chicago, but at what cost, essentially, right? Because he ended up not making not making playoffs, not being very successful. Mind you, he did have a great run his first season with Vegas. Helps her kind of get that franchise like settled, right? And like going to the Cup final, in your first season as an organization is huge. That was a stupid penalty, but um, but anyway, yeah, great question. I appreciate the questions, buddy. Like I said, if anyone has questions, feel free to HBO at hockey. I did not know that either. What is it? Is it? It's not games. Is it like in the locker room type stuff? So it's I definitely think it's good that the Canes are getting actually taking these penalties because I'm interested to see what type of shorthanded lines they're throwing out. It looks like Natchez is out with Stahl, which is interesting. If Natchez can develop his game into being a defensive player similar to Stahl, but having that offensive flair as well, he's going to be golden. He really will be. Oh, there's a good chance. Oh, good shot though. Oh, good chance. Like I said, I've been big on Stahl. Like I said, as far as the captaincy goes, not he's been a little lackluster. I'll be honest with you, but uh, the player Stahl is great. I think he's an absolute beast defensively. I always get worried when Canes start getting so many players down low because of that exact reason right there. Right? Oh, cool. So HBO is so nothing yet, but probably soon to come. That's pretty cool. Um, I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if some of those movie networks, your HBO, your Showtime, any of those streaming services, I won't be surprised if they start trying to pick up sports, especially like hockey, because even though ESPN has the contract, it's they're not able to put on the games nearly as much as they want. But it'd be cool to see like your movie streaming services also pick up sports as well. Because yeah, if you did that, it'd be pretty awesome to see hockey, get Game of Thrones, hockey, all in one place. Come on, that's right. So, but yeah, it's very encouraging to see the Hurricanes being able to play the way that they're doing, especially shorthanded so far. So I've heard good things about Coughlin. I think Coughlin's going to be pretty big. Hey, you know what? I think that anything that HBO would get would be great. I think even if it's once every 2 weeks. Though I wouldn't mind like, if they had like their own like game of the week edition. But my thing was be like show me like rivalries and show me like you know the like how Tampa Florida sort of kind of kicked off or how Canes Caps has sort of kind of taken off, especially with the outdoor game here in a couple of months. Like if you stop and think about how exciting that could potentially be to like have you know choose Flyers, Penguins, choose Canes, Caps, choose, and then follow the story around them, right? Because you'd say every 1 or 2 weeks, two of those teams are going to be playing one another, right? So I think that would be actually super exciting to see, and then do like a little docu series on it, right? And then just have it change off on different teams on which team it is, because I think there's so many interesting storylines around hockey that just never put out to the public because there isn't that hyper media attention. You know what I mean? Like football, everything that's said gets polarized, and I'm a big fantasy football guy, so when I turn it on during the day, so and so said this, and then there's 12 different reporters who are all giving their take on what that means. I would love to see something similar from HBO that says, "Hey, hockey has a great following too. We can tap into this as well." But so far, I'm sort of kind of surprised there hasn't been a little bit more scoring. It's been a little bit choppy. I don't think feel like I think I feel like Tampa Bay's got maybe one or two good chances, and the Canes have got maybe two or three that are like solid good chances where goaltender had to make like an outstanding save to get it done, right? So I do think that I don't know. I think it's gonna be a little bit closer than what I initially thought. I think I think like I said, maybe it might end up being a 1-0 or 2-1 game. I was hoping, like I said, I love the idea of overtime, and I think it'd be really exciting and fun to see some of these younger players come in and jump in and play. Since Kate showed on HBO, oh yeah, definitely. No, 100%. I think that would be a lot of fun to see. I think that there's so much people don't realize how much rich history there is behind the Hurricanes. How we started off as Hartford, and then the transition to coming here. People don't realize that, like, perfect example of something most people don't know was like Gordie Howe played for the Hurricane. Excuse me, played for the Whalers, right, in his 50s, right? But something else people don't know is one of his sons played for the Raleigh Ice Caps in the later years of his career. So, like, Gordie Howe is like I met Gordie Howe when I was like 2 or 3 years old at the Carey Ice House. Like there's my grandparents have a picture of him holding me. You know, so there people don't realize like little things like that. I think just summarizing hockey in North Carolina and how far it's progressed. Because like like I'm 32, right? I remember when I was living in Wilmington, North Carolina, in high school, where the ice house opened up there, and how much fun that was to sort of kind of see that progress, right? And then I also, remember, oh, was there a fight? Oh, okay. Surprised they didn't call that. But yeah, no, I do think it's a great point though. Yeah, I agree. New fans don't know about Hartford, and most of them, honestly, I don't think most of them really care either. I think it's such an interesting. Uh, it's very interesting to see what happens whenever you know whaler night comes around because half the fans love it, half the fans hate it. I personally love it. I think it's great. I think, mind you, I was born in '89, so growing up, my first team I liked was the Pittsburgh Penguins because hey, that's who we had. That my grandparents were from there. That's who raised me. That's what the team we liked, right? So when it was announced that Hartford was coming down to Raleigh, that was just next level. That was so cool. It was so much fun. But I think it is. It's. So I'm really grateful for how much hockey's developed in Raleigh because when I was in elementary school and middle school, I think I'm a couple years older than what you are, buddy. But when I was there, like straight up, I said I played hockey, and they were like, "What's hockey?" Like people back in like 94, 95, 96, they had no idea what hockey was, you know. So seeing how much it's taken off here in the Triangle, and I think that Holly Springs is supposed to be getting a brand new facility, like a state of the art, like school, like hockey facility, like ice rink facility, um, down there. And so just having that, and that's just awesome, you know. Kids nowadays in Raleigh have so much, you know. I always make the joke that I would have made the NHL if you know if hockey was a bigger thing in Raleigh. Um, but it's sort of kind of funny how nowadays kids will actually have that opportunity. That should have been the back of the net. Oh, there you go. Oh, good shot. That's oh my, great shot. Oh, oh, come on, guys. Who's your favorite player? I don't think I've asked that yet, but great. That was great. Those are great opportunities to get on the board. I think Sassy's going to fit in real well here. I'm super excited. I oh dude, that's awesome. Goodwill's got great finds like that. I want to say, God, this was so long ago. I think I was in high school still. I went into the Goodwill down there on 55, right, next to the Beaver Creek, and I found a San Jose Sharks jersey down there. There wasn't a nameplate on the back, but someone messed up poorly, real bad, and I saw that. I grabbed that thing so quick. That cashier, I think she told me like $3 or $4 for it. I flipped the shit. Yeah, no, it's actually a surprisingly good spot to sort of kind of look and find because essentially what happens is these jerseys, people say they put it off to the side, they don't think about it, and then well, we'll just give it away, not knowing that it's a freaking gem, you know. Oh no! Oh wow! Oh man! Teravainen is sneaky good on defense. Like he's not the guy you would think to go to and be like, oh, he's actually a solid defensive player, but he actually holds his own pretty well. I think that's why Aho and him feed off each other so well. Is because I wouldn't be surprised if given the opportunity to ask, I wouldn't be surprised at all if Teravainen. Oh, it was a great shot by Svech. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Teravainen grew up playing center, and when he got to the NHL, just became a winger. Because the level of defensive awareness he has is really high, and normally you see that from like centers or people who played defense before. Well, hook and call, if I'm not mistaken, or high sticking. Yeah. I love when the refs try to explain it. They're like yeah, you high stick them. Like, what are you questioning this for? And then you go back and you look at the tape, and it's like so clear cut that he did it. Oh, she's letting him have it. You give it to him, yeah. Let him know. Uh, oh, that was a nifty little move. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to start working those in a little bit more. I feel like there's been a little bit of hesitation to try plays like that. Um, wouldn't surprise me at all if Teravainen is able to capitalize on that. I think if he put a little bit more behind that shot, he would have actually gotten into the back of the net. I'm sure Fast is loving the power play time. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Fast going up and down the lineup a little bit more this season than normal. Um, he sort of has that. He has that ability to sort of kind of go up and down. Um, all right. Interesting to see Pesci can't. Like I was going to say before, I would like to see Pesci maybe get a little more power play time. Though I don't know with Burns as well if that'll end up happening. But because right now this is preseason, right? So looks like they got Pesci and Coughlin both out there at the same time. But I wouldn't be surprised if yeah, yeah. Mike Metzger makes up a good point. I don't know how much we're going to see Coughlin do it be on the power play in the future. Like that's there's your bonehead play of the day. But I think Coughlin's actually not a bad player. I think he'll actually. I'm more honestly. Everyone's was super hyped about Pat Chiretti. I might be a little bit more excited about the prospect of Dylan Coughlin. I feel like there it is. There it is. There's the goal. Beautiful goal by Svechnikov. Like I said, he blast from the past. That was a dart. I like that. I like that play a lot. That's actually a really smart play from Kakaniemi. He that little almost a one touch pass. Didn't really settle the puck. So kind of just stopped it and then fucking kept it moving. But little plays like that is what's going it's going to need to take for the Canes to take that next step. Um, but I think the Canes have the ability to really take it on to the next level. So Canes up 1-0. Great shot from Svechnikov. I'm super excited to see that go in. A little bit different play that we normally see from Kakiniemi and Svechnikov. So that one touch pass really sort of kind of set it apart as far as being able to uh, whenever you make little plays like that, little adjustments, because that's not something we've seen Svechnikov do before. I don't think I've ever seen Svechnikov, take that one timer like that. Not from that position, not from a pass that was essentially at the face-off circles back up to the um, back up to the point. But uh, Get my voice a little bit of rest. Good Lord. Didn't realize talking for that 1 hour and 15 minutes was so hard on that voice. But the kids off to a great start. See if we can't get a little bit of stats going here. What's going on? Like I said, big play, big goal. Was super excited to see that. I'm checking to see some stats here from the game. With this feed, we can't really see much of anything as far as we got the score, and that's pretty much about it. But let's see here, Game Center. So far, it looks like we've got ourselves 27 shots on goal from the Hurricanes, which is great. It's awesome. The Canes are really just dominating the play of this game. So I wouldn't be surprised at this point, halfway mark of the game, if he doesn't start throwing some different line combinations out there. Not necessarily because he's trying to win the game or anything. I think it might be more inclined because he's trying to see what works and what doesn't. So like right now, we know that fast Stasi install works, but you have to be curious if how Stasi would look with like Kotkaniemi and like Dacius. Oh, I don't like that at all. I feel like this is preseason with you're playing against a goaltender that's injured. You have to sort of kind of know these things going into the game, right? And I don't necessarily think there's anything that I've seen from yeah, like I don't see enough of an effort to avoid that you know, he's gonna do what he's gonna need to do, try to stop the play, but you also have to fucking attempt to not hit the goaltender as well. So but so far, Canes are looking good. Yeah, April 16th was Anderson's last game, they said. That's a pretty significant amount of time. Oh, that's a good play right there. Oh, come on, man. That was a great opportunity to go up 2-0. But there was space there too. He really, really leaned really a little too hard to the right and gave all the left hand space all. But Canes are looking good so far. They seem to be pretty much in complete control of the game. Um, I'm interested to see it. Like I said, like I'm not really high on Chatfield right now. Hey, if you want to prove me wrong, by all means, prove me wrong. But I do think that I think the fact that it'll be interesting to see how it's going to play out. But the kids are going crazy. Yeah. But oh, good play. Oh, that was so weak. So weak, Nate. Just so weak, buddy. But anyway, Canes are looking good. All right. All right. Oh man. Last time I had this on was in the playoffs last year. But anyway, Canes are looking good though. Canes are looking good. Uh, I'm excited to see how this power play develops. I do think the fact that the Canes power play was what was the reason why they didn't really win that series against the Rangers. Honestly, uh, it was up there. You also had between the goaltenders having issues, getting injured, and then essentially certain defensemen just weren't where you wanted them to be when they needed to be there. Shea, I wrote an article a couple of weeks after the Canes lost to the Rangers. Essentially, I said, look, like, you have to blame people like Natchez, 100%. He didn't play the way he needed to play, right? Then you have to look at players like Shea and Pesci. That second defensive pairing failed the Hurricanes miserably. You couldn't ask anything more from Slavin, right? He came in and did the absolute best he could what he was given. So I can't blame him. But you really expected Shea and Pesci to take that next step. That I'm hoping now that new season, I'm hoping that they can start kind of gel well enough that they can be that those shutdown guys that we need them to be. Um, but I'm excited to see how this power play is going to develop because it's going to completely come down. It can make the difference in any game, and it can completely destroy a team in the playoffs as well. So I like the bumper slot for Aho. I always get worried whenever he tries to go too close to being in front of the crease, only because whenever you're in front of the crease, you can only take a beating, right? Um, which is why I've always liked using Stahl. And like they're using Fosk in that role right now, right? Because you can't, if you consistently put Aho there, you risk the fact that he's going to get hurt. So, but I'm also interested. I'm excited to see what kind of see the second unit. I think the second unit is going to be fire. Because it looks like it's Stretch, Stasny, Natchez. Um, I'm wondering who else is that last person's going to be. I would be surprised to think it's Kotkaniemi actually, but yeah, it is. I was sad to see certain players go. Right, I liked Trocheck. I was really big on Trocheck and Niederreiter. But it's interesting because it opens up more ice time for your Natchez and your Kotkaniemi's. Goal! Great shot by Coughlin. Fantastic look. Looks like Stassi's goal. Solid. Coughlin's that's a wicked shot right there. And Kotkaniemi with his second assist. Oh yeah. That might come back though. That might be high. I don't. You can't tell from that angle. That's a horror. That answer did not tell me if it was high or not. That's for sure. But that was a great shot. Like I said, it's encouraging to see Cogman already shooting puck like that. So let's see what they say. There you go. There's a better look. I ain't gonna be too much trouble either. Yeah, that's right. I think that's right. Normally, I bet preseason there might be a little bit more of a review, more a little bit more of a look at it. But there you go. It's exciting to see Stasny already getting putting points up, goals in. I think Stasny could be, like I said, I think putting him on a line with Kotkaniemi and Svechnikov, I think that could be lethal, lethal. He's he's older, right? Definitely one of your older players on the team, but he also has the complete ability to Williams and Martinook sort of taking Svech and Kotkaniemi under his wing. But I could definitely see Stasi sort of finishing the job, right? Saying, being this year being such a pivotal moment, you know, especially making big boy both players making big boy numbers now as far as how much money they're earning. Hey, this is how you actually become pro and go from there. Is it? Oh, Jesus, that was another goal. Oh, off the bar. Great shot. Oh, someone there? There he is. Honka. I think that's going to be a name that we're going to have to become way more familiar with really quickly. I would not, do not be surprised if uh, Honka makes the team and Jahan doesn't. With Gardner being gone, I would be surprised if the Canes try to go for a third, or excuse me, a sixth, like a solid like 6-7 guy that you want to have like an addition. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, you have like 23 people on your roster. I would not be surprised if he makes it. And because now you have something else to keep in mind is now you have Brett Burns, right? He's an older guy. You've sort of gotten a little bit older on D. Um, you know, so it wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing to have Coughlin be occasionally paired up with Honka. Oh, that was a great chance. Spence sort of kind of pass blocked fucking uh, Coughlin there. He had actually Coughlin had the opportunity to score. But Canes are looking good. I'm liking the forecheck right now. It's sort of kind of in their face the way it needs to be. Um, so Canes are looking good though. 2 goals. Easily could have been 3. Easily could have been 3. So super excited to sort of see how this is played out for the Hurricanes. Looks like our boys are a little bit tired. So that went on that line. Oh, it was going. It was so close to going in. That puck was on that line for sure. Oh my, that was close. So all right, Kane's breaking out here. Well, second period's wrapping up. I'm probably gonna take myself another 3 or 4 minute little break, grab myself a little bit more of my drink, and go from there. All right, guys, we'll take a 3 minute break. I'll be back in a couple minutes. Oh, for what? I'm gonna treat some of this real quick. Well, well, kids are looking good, 100%. I think that it's great to see Stasny get on and get on the board so early. First preseason game, second period. I think Canes really. I don't see any issues with Canes being able to close these guys out. Mind you, it's preseason, right? So you can't really put too much into it either way. But I do think the fact that Anderson's been looking good. I think the fact that a lot of the defense has been looking pretty solid. It's always interesting going into the preseason. You start seeing some of these preseason games, like who Brittany grips the green light to, right? As far as like the first line combo. I mean by that, it's like Shea and Pesci right now are the first line combo. So I wonder if the following game that they play, because I think the one tomorrow is postponed due to Hurricane Ian and whatnot. Um, it'll be interesting to see what next game's breakout looks like, and I can get my room a little bit more set up for the to host this. 100% honesty, I completely forgot that you can't start preseason game today. So I got the little notification on my phone like, oh crap, I'm supposed to start live streaming this week today, I guess, right? So here I am, figuring it out as I go. I appreciate everyone who sticks with me during this interesting and fun transition, and I think what's going to be a great way to watch these games. Yeah, I mean, like I said, like the whole idea was sort of kind of get some people together, chit chat about it, say, hey, isn't this funny? Let's find a community in which we could all hang out, talk shit, but have some fun doing it. Um, as I progress through this, the idea is to incorporate both teams, fans. With me writing articles on pretty much the NHL as it is, I sort of kind of tend to, mostly I cover the Hurricanes. Occasionally I'll write an article. I like covering Seattle right now. I'm a giant Ron Francis fan. You can tell from the jersey behind me, but yeah, I think Seattle is a great market for hockey. So we're going to get into. It'll be interesting to see if the team can financially survive there, right? So, something to keep in mind is Seattle isn't really a big like sports town. You've got the Seahawks, right? But after that, who do you got? Like Sonics, Seattle Sonic left. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm sort of interested to see if the Kraken will be able to how their finances will look in 3 or 4 years after the newness of being in the NHL sort of kind of wears off. Especially if they end up having struggling seasons. Um, but something on them though. I don't necessarily. I'm a huge Francis fan, and I don't necessarily know if Francis was the right guy to bring into that organization to start off. I think Francis brings a lot of. He's a great hockey mind. Like you 100% want him as like vice president of like operations, but I don't necessarily know if I'd want him to be the guy getting my franchise off of the ground as a general manager. As a general manager, with the Hurricanes, he didn't do such a great job. There was a lot of mismanagement of things. You know, that was when the Hurricanes were bad for several years. Um, I think Francis might be better served as a VP in the organization, but I don't know necessarily know if in the general manager's role is the greatest position for him. Alex, he's my favorite player. Love him to death, but I don't necessarily know if he's always going to be uh, the answer to the Kraken. I would not be surprised if you told me in 2 years, hey, Kraken moving on from Francis and they're going in a different direction because you know Francis had an opportunity during that expansion draft to really drop some high end talent. Nino Niederreiter was exposed, right? We exposed Nino Niederreiter, and he didn't go with him. He went with Morgan Geeky, you know. Oh, excuse, and then he went with, you know, he ended up getting Flurry in front of not sticking him. He had the opportunity to get some better players. Um, So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about how what direction Francis is going to take that organization. Wish them all the best. And like I said, that's why I sort of kind of like covering them, because like one of my favorite players is the general manager there. I'm hoping he can figure out a way to get that organization set up in the right way. Um, but it's Francis is going to have a lot of work to do with Seattle, that's for sure. So, but anyway, guys, feel free to comment, ask questions, shoot your shot, whatever you got, here to answer anything you got for me. So, but, but all right. yeah, so second intermission here. Like I said, it was good seeing Stasny really being able to come out here and and check things out. uh, gonna need to, let's say, get a script going, but figure out talking points for intermissions for sure, for sure. All right, win some, learn some. But anyway, guys, so I think that the Hurricanes, this might be the best roster the Hurricanes have had in a long time. The subtraction of Trocheck and Nina Ryder from especially the forward group sort of hurts a little bit. But when you bring in, Stasny's a great, absolute great um, pickup. Max Pacioretty is going to be a little bit is going to be interesting. I think it's so weird because he's coming in, in the middle. He'll come in the middle of the season, essentially. What, like February, March, if we do get him back. And at that point, you sort of kind of hope that you know, you sort of hope he's out to the playoffs. To be honest with you, because the issue could potentially rise up, especially with Gardner being injured as well. What could potentially end up happening is like if Pacioretty comes back in March and we don't have the cap space for him, we'll have to move somebody. And then again, I guess my thing is you know Pacioretty's got 1 year left on his deal. Stahl has 1 year left on his deal. Between the two of them, that's $13 million, right? So, I mean, you have to have. I don't think there's a scenario where you trade Stahl, but it sort of makes you question why you acquired Pacioretty if you're not gonna, I guess the thing is are you expecting at some point to have injuries that occur to where he's not gonna, you're gonna be fine when he does come back, Um, but I will say that's this. It's a great move by management to put themselves in this position. Now, if Pacioretty is able to stay out until the playoffs, and the Canes get him back for that, like I can guarantee you, they'll vote to eliminate that, eliminate that leniency that they've given, essentially, right? Because that's the whole thing. That's why I know Canes fans were pretty mad about it a couple of years ago when Tampa was like 10 million over the cap for the playoffs because Kucherov came back, right? So I could potentially see that being a sticking point because the people who bitched about it the most were the Hurricanes, right? And I think whoever Tampa played in the finals also bitched about it as well. But if the Hurricanes are doing it now everyone's going to be like, oh, yeah, fuck that rule, excuse my French. But I can completely see them saying, taking that back, be like, yeah, we need to fix this because it's not right. I don't think it is right, right? So, like, you have the salary cap for a reason. And if you're going to take it away from the playoffs, I mean, I feel like that should be when it should be the most enforces in the playoffs, Um, because at the end of the day, the whole point of the conversation is you want to give every team a fair shot at winning the cup, right? So like that was the big thing why the salary cap came around, right? Is because you had teams like the Carolina Hurricanes in 2002 who when there was no salary cap, you could spend whatever you wanted, essentially, right? So the Canes didn't have a giant payroll for players, and they ended up being the best team in the East, right? And then the best team in the West was Detroit, back when Detroit was in the Western Conference. And Detroit had Mike Madonna, Brett Hull, Dominic Hasek. Their lineup, I guarantee you, if you looked up 2002 Detroit Red Wings, I could almost guarantee 80% of those players ended up in the Hall of Fame. So that's why the salary cap became such an important part of hockey, is because, like, hey, every team should have a fair shot playing. So if you want to institute a cap floor of like 60 million, we understand that. But then the cap ceiling being 80, 82, that should be heavily enforced because it should be heavily enforced. Because the whole point is that every team gets a fair shake, every team gets a fair shot. So I would really like to see them make sure that is enforced and really is able to go through and and stick to their guns on that for sure. So anyway, guys, if you like the content, man, I really could appreciate the like and subscribe. Like I said, I'm not gonna hone in on anybody, not gonna bring it up 1.5 million, 2 million times, but it would definitely would appreciate it. Definitely appreciate the help for sure. Thanks, guys. But we got about 3 minutes until the until puck drop for the third period. And if any of you guys are coming across this video via the after the stream is over, essentially what we're trying to do is we're trying to create ourselves a little community here. We're just hockey lovers who want to watch games together, have a couple of drinks, shoot shit, make fun of when a team is doing bad, cheer for your team when it's doing good. Like I said, I'm a diehard Hurricanes fan. Have been since the first game they played out here, down over in Greensboro. It's Pittsburgh Penguins. So I'm excited. I think that this season is. I'm excited for many reasons. I think this will be an interesting and fun time to to be a Hurricanes fan with the possibility that they're going to win a cup. I also think it's a real fun time because I'm doing this. It's really what I'm trying to do is trying to take that next step with with the hockey community and the Canes fans, right? So the idea is, all right, let's have a constant dialogue with. God, dog, you're going crazy. Let's have an open dialogue with how the Canes are doing and be real about situations. It's also an opportunity to say, hey, you guys have that opinion, I have that opinion too. It also means, hey, we can agree that this player isn't working for us, and this is the reason why this player isn't working for us. So I think these are the big things that I think um, I'm really wanting to sort of move forward with the Canes fans and being able to sort of mutually agree, hey, this player isn't bad because he missed the puck one time, but this player here is bad because he consistently does this, this, and this. And essentially, what it comes down to is like being able to further educate fans on what hockey players, people who played hockey, actually see on a consistent basis, to know that like, hey, you fanning on a one-timer doesn't make you a bad player, but you consistently missing this or you consistently not forechecking like everyone else forechecks, that's what makes you a bad hockey player. That's what younger players need to do if they actually want to be successful in playing hockey. Is, hey, you know, go make sure that you're pushing the point, make sure that you're following through and doing what you need to do. But anyway, the third period's about to start. I'm excited for the season. Excited to start this new endeavor with everybody. All right. All right. So I don't want to say the S word um, for Anderson because I think he's gotten lucky a couple of times. But the Canes definitely need to step up defensively real quick. There you go. Get the puck out. It's a good start. Oh, they call it offsides. Oh, high stick. Oh, what a good! That was actually a really smart play. Nice chance. Jarvis is crafty. I think Jarvis is going to end up being that breakout star for the Hurricanes for sure. Um, uh, when the someone posted a picture on the Canes Facebook page that was like it showed Jarvis and Svetch, and they're all at WCC. Uh, Jarvis with his shaved head straight looks like he's out of juvie. He literally looks like they released him, the day before and said, "All right, kid, go play hockey now." I guess shaved head, but looks to be a little bit of a goatee starting to form in. It's hilarious. But he's a damn good hockey player at 19 years old, so I definitely think that Jarvie's gonna be he's gonna be something special for the Hurricanes. Uh, I will be interested to see. See, there's always there you go, 2-on-1. Let's go to Teravainen. And he tries to give it back. I called that earlier today. I swear to God, I called that earlier today. Every 2-on-1 he gets, he tries to pass it, and that should have been an easy shot. Oh man, that's the thing. Oh, Hayden Fleury is down in Tampa. Someone mentioned that to me earlier that Hayden Fleury was down in Tampa Bay. I love Hayden Fleury. I really really wanted for Hayden Fleury to come back to the Hurricanes. You're not going to find a better 6'7" guy who can beat that shutdown in that shutdown role. Honestly, the reason why Hayden Fleury catch so much flack and he's been bouncing around a lot as of late is because there's no offensive side to his game. He's not good with the breakout pass, which you sort of have to be in today's NHL. But I'm telling you right now, if Hayden Fleury was playing like in the '90s or like even the early 2000s, Hayden Fleury would be like considered a top Scott Stevens s type defenseman. Mind you, he's never played at like that level of like gritty or nasty. But what he does do is he shuts down players, and that's what you really want from your guy. So, so for the younger players, keeping the offensive making the offensive guys go wide is so important. Like you don't really realize how important it is until you've actually played both defense and offense. Um, I had this thing where like I try to not only do you force them outside, right? Because there's a way that you position yourself to do that, right? But there's also a we got a fight. We got a fight. Pedersen looks like is going up against Finley, and they're trying real hard to break that up. I should have loved throwing a couple. I'm big on okay. Something I was going to learn about me is I'm huge on fighting. Huge on it. I love the fighting because it's a gentleman's sport, right? Will always be considered a gentleman's sport. So you always be able to be held accountable for your actions in this level, which I think a lot of leagues are kind of getting away with, right? In some of those, like in some of these leagues, like especially the NBA and the NFL, you get a dirty hit on someone. What do? They push each other back. "Oh, no, you did that. You did that, right? But hockey, you don't piss somebody off, right? You're gonna have to pay for it one way or another. Either they're gonna check you, or you're gonna get in a fight with them. It's plain and simple. It's not complicated. It's not hard. Well, the feedback I always get is, well, player safety, health safety. Hockey's been played for 100 years. You know what I mean? You know, I don't think I've ever heard. Mind you, I'm sure someone could look it up and be like, oh, there's one example in 1973, somebody died playing hockey, from a fight or something. I'm sure that happens, right? But you also have to be held accountable, right, for your actions. So, like, perfect example was a couple of seasons ago. You had the Tom Wilson incident with the Rangers, right? What needed to happen? A fight, and that's what ended up happening, right? So I like seeing fighting in the game. I think fighting 100% belongs in the game. So, but I'm hoping someone's going to pick up the guy in front of the net. There we go. All right, good breakout now. Oh, there you go, cocky. Close. Close. Nakaniemi that was a good chance. That was a solid chance right there. Solid chance right there. I think that I think Nakaniemi is going to take a positive step forward. That's a good pass from Natchez. It's a little ahead, but Nakaniemi adjusted and made it work. But I definitely think there's Chatfield. But I think Natchez is going to have he really is going to end up having a great game. So a great season. I got a good feeling. I feel like with Trocheck, Niederreiter, all these guys last season, there was so many, like Nate just knew he'd really have to kill himself to fucking get onto onto that second line. You got Trocheck, you got Niederreiter, you got Kakiniemi also fighting for that spot. He had his work cut off for him. Nate just did try to get up the second line. But I also think that now that the space is there for him to really take and make it his own, I think he's going to thrive in the position. He's got a decent contract. I'm hoping he can actually, if we can get 25 goals from him, here's my big old bold prediction for preseason game 1, right? Oh, that was dirty. That was dirty. What a goal. My bold prediction though for the Canes, if Mario Natchez can put up 27 goals, I'll say it again. If Natchez can put up 27 goals, I think that the Canes will clinch the Metro. There's my bold prediction. But great goal from Aho. It can't get better than that. Gets out of the zone. I think, especially after this last draft that the Canes did, I think the Canes will be in a really good position within the next couple of years, right? So organizations go through it's like the ocean, right? Highs and lows with like the tide, essentially, right? So, that was a great attempt. What I'm trying to say is the Canes have to be very mindful of something, right? Because like you're bad for so long, right? So you got all these high level picks, right? Well, after you do your 3 years, you have to re up your contract, and these contracts can be ridiculous. Like I'm very nervous with Jarvis, right? Though the Canes put themselves in an actually really unique situation because uh, Jarvis got one more year after this year, right? So which is also the same year that Aho is up for his renewal as well. Oh, great goal by Jarvis. Now that I'm speaking about him, Jarvis has the ability to potentially to ask for oof, 5.5, 6 million, easy, without much of anything, without much of a stretch. You have to realize, look at that shot location, right? So the shot came in from right at the lower face-off circle, and it went far side, right? So in doing that's such a hard shot to pull off because you're pulling it one way and then you're shooting it across. Yeah, yeah, like he isn't shooting it across his body, but you have to use that the last little bit of your of the toe of your stick to be able to to be able to pull it off. You know, um, so Kane's looking. This is pretty much over. We're at a point now where I want to start seeing the third and fourth liners play a little bit more. Not necessarily like Stalsy, but like what you don't want to happen at 4-0 in a preseason game is for some hothead to fucking take a shot at one of your players, thinking thinking that, hey, this is easy. This is, we're you know you don't want for these players to try to take a cheap shot just to try to get noticed and try to stick around for another couple of weeks. You know, that's what my big fear would be at the end of the day, right now, because these games don't mean a whole lot. And when you got a team like the Canes who are with a bunch of players who are wanting to prove something, all it takes is one person on their team to also want to prove that he can make those hits, that he can play physical, that he's not gonna roll over. Especially with the Tampa organization that's so pristine and used to winning. So, but Kane's looking great though. Canes really are. So, Stalzy up face off. See, that little play right there by Stasny, that little touch backhand pass is exactly what I'm talking about when I'm like veteran. Some of your these younger guys will try to curl to essentially gain control of the puck and make him play with it. But sometimes all you need is a little flick of the wrist, a little flick backwards, and the puck is at the point now, and they're able to make a significantly better play than if he had curled the puck, picked it up, and then looked up to see what was going on. Because there wouldn't have been anything there essentially. So, especially if you're having to pick up the puck like that, because if you're going to have to at the very least glance down to see exactly where it is, right? But with this, there's not. You can literally, because you're on your backhand, you can start kind of use it the same way a blind man uses his pole, right? Feel it, okay, back. So, so I what Trip is in Micah bringing up is the fact that Jarvis it might be a little bit harder this year for Jarvis because of the fact that everyone knows about him now. He's not going to sneak up. But respectfully here, I think that that's not going to make a difference. Um, it's not to say because I'm like saying no, I'm not saying that at all. But I am saying think about this. Right now, it's a three-headed beast with Carolina. Okay, well, it's Jarvis, it's Aho, it's Svechnikov. Those three guys, each one of them you really got to pay attention to because any of them could beat you, right? But then, wait, there's more. If you decide to double team any one of them, you also have to worry about Paravinen. Who else? Natchez. Who else? Kakaniemi. Your top six right now, when it looks as good as the Hurricanes' top six does, this is what you want. This is what sucking for 9 years gets you. you know, this is what being just absolute trash gets you for 9 years. Is hey, guess what? Oh, pull it out. Oh, tried to do a wraparound, failed miserably. Anyway, but the whole point I'm trying to make is now that the Canes have gotten all these picks, you've gotten all these players, they're good now. Their top six looks fantastic. You want Kakini, you want Natchez to step up, just get a little bit better, not necessarily a whole lot better, but a little bit better. Right. But once that actually happens, um, Canes are so crack golden. Now what it'll come down to is can you pay them all? Can you actually afford to keep them all? And that's where Waddell might actually be a genius because of the fact how he's sort of kind of made these contracts come out. So I'd have to double check what Terry Ryan's contract looks like when his expires. I want to say it's the same year Aho does. So in doing that, right, you can say, okay, well, we're going to pay Aho, and we're not going to be able to afford to keep Terry Ryan, right? But then that also means you can pay Jarvis as well, right? And there's because I think there's absolute zero possibility that Jarvis gets any type of trade. I think that I keep on saying people that might think I'm a little bit crazy. I think that Jarvis and Svechnikov are the future of this organization, more so than I'd say Aho and Svechnikov are. So looks like I'm missing off. God, I can't say his fucking name. Uh, I haven't said it in such a long time. So let's see. I don't know. It is a breakdown. Oh, okay. Nis- Mystikov. That's how you say it. Freaking hell. Look, it's preseason for me too. Okay. Also, first time broadcasting. I'm working on it. Okay. So I'm not really worried about that goal at all. Mystikov scoring. I mean, it was a little bit of a breakdown. Our defenseman losing his footing there. Unfortunate, but like not the end of the world. I'm sure he would have. I'm really sure Anderson wouldn't have mind having a shutout. But um, but yeah, I think it's been a. This has been. I think it's actually been a really good game. There's a lot to take away from this game as far as um, your power play looking good, your penalty kill looking good. Um, and those are huge, especially in the preseason. If you can come out the gate, you can start the season, the regular season that is, with a strong power play, a strong penalty kill. You're like miles above where everyone else was going to be at that time, 100%. Um, I think that one little defensive lap isn't enough to make me worry. If it, the other thing is it's a guy who's I won't say guaranteed to go down to the Wolves, but like no one has Menzel. Excuse me. No one has Menzel as a lock for position 7. You know what I mean? So that's something that like he's getting this good experience going up against these guys now, and that's what you really want him to have is that ability to sort of kind of figure out, see what it's like to play similar to the pace he's going to need to play at. Mind you, this is slow compared to. This is probably about honestly, if you want to be like a realistic about the competition level right now, is I'd say this is probably about what an AHL level game is at, right? So it's a little bit choppy, a little bit broken up. You've got a couple of good passes followed by a couple questionable ones. Um, you know, Bad skating from pretty much everyone. You got a couple good some good skating going on, but it looks like a preseason game, right? But so for the defensive laps like that, it's certainly nothing to worry about. All right. Yeah. So essentially, going back and forth, sort of kind of like it is, you know, got Pesci down low. Sometimes that, I definitely know sometimes, especially during the regular season, that always makes me a little bit nervous with Pesci. Um, he does, I think he likes to jump up a little bit more than what your Slavin normally does, right? So it always makes me just a touch concerned, especially because I don't think Shea is nearly as strong of a defenseman as Pesci is. So Good play by Stretch. All right, final commercial break here. Anyway, guys, I appreciate everyone who stuck around. It really means a lot. Something. Being told, like, subscribe, all that good jazz. Like I said, the intended way to do this isn't really to watch me by yourself. Believe it or not. It's really more to like watch the game while it's going on, and sort of have me on your phone and whatnot. It's an ability to sort of kind of be a part of another group and just be able to chit chat and I'm not really here to make fun of opinions or anything of that sort. More or less, just hey, swing by, let me know, hey, is this player? Why does this player do this? Oh, this is why this is happening. Or hey, how come this player does this? Oh, this player is actually doing what he's supposed to be doing. The idea is more to educate fans and to have a mutual place where we can all sort of kind of sit around, have a beer, shoot the shit, have some fun with everything. Because at the end of the day, I love the Hurricanes. I think most of us do, and I love hockey. So more than likely, I'll probably branch out and be covering other games. I'll probably be covering, Seattle a little bit. Might occasionally do this for the Seattle team, the Kraken, or might even occasionally do it for the Caps as well. Just because the Caps are close by, it's a good rivalry to have, especially if you really stop and think about the fact that hey, the Winter Classic or the outdoor series is going to be this week or this season as well. So I think it's an opportunity to really have some fun with it and see what happens because I'm like I said I'm sort of stoked. I it's going to be a great season. It really is. So. All right. Well, I think it's been a very successful first preseason game. Canes have kids have really, really impressed me so far. I mean, it's the preseason, so I'm not taking you know, you're aware of how well they play, but you're not, not by any stretch of the imagination going to bet $1,000 that they're going to win. But it's a good. This has been definitely been a good first game. Um, I'm excited to see how what this can turn into. Um, you're keeping Westall. If there was one thing maybe I would like to see besides like Natchez and Cockney, maybe really taking that next step. Um, I would love to see Jordan Stahl get to 20 goals this season. Um, he's sort of kind of been hovering around 30-ish, 35-ish, 40 points a season. Um, if this is going to be his last season as a Cane, I would love to see the big man, as they call him. Love to see the big man really, go out with a bang. Oh, it was a good look. I like what he was trying to do there. I was trying to feed it to Kakiniemi. Close. We're close. Oh, damn. Anderson laid the body on him. Oh, Spetch. I don't want to see that Spetch. Oh, Spetch. Oh, Spetch. He's slept laying down. You're going to have to call a penalty on that. The Canes are going to run the power play one more time. Hold it. Yep. Yep, hold it. All right. Well, as we wrap up today, I appreciate everyone coming out and checking it out. Appreciate the thumbs up, subscribes, and all that good jazz. Uh, feel free to check us out, onetimershockey.com. Leave a note. Say, hey, you do this well, you suck at this. I'm here for it. Whatever you got, I'm here for. Um, I appreciate everyone checking it out, and we'll wrap up this game here next couple minutes, and we can get pumped continue to get pumped for the regular season. So we're only it's been creeping up real quick on us, and I think the Canes are gonna have a really good season. I got a real good feeling about this. I think it's gonna be it'll be exciting for sure. I think what I would like to see the most from the preseason is for us to really, like I said, the power play and shorthanded, we look great. I really want for us to home in on that and make sure that, like, I want for the Canes to be a top five team for the power play this year. I think they have to be if they want to compete in the Metro. It's a bad choice. That's a bad decision. Um, I think Coughlin has the ability to get himself into a 3-4 spot. I don't think he'll have it right off the bat. I think that's someone with like, what a goal. What a shot. Good Lord, that was a good shot. That was impressive. Look at that. Yeah, that's great. That's a bar down action. There you go. I think Marty. I'd like to see Martin just get back to what made him good the first season, the first couple of seasons, right? One of the things that Martin H did so well, I call them the Zoomies, right? Which is funny because Dzingel was on the team at that point. He had the ability to get his feet going and just be the fastest player on the ice. That's offsides, but I think he has the complete ability to really, if he can learn how to finish with that speed, he'll be great. He'll be really. Natchez can make or break this team, and I think he knows that. Oh, Hayden Fleury, what the hell, man? I just talked you up real good. Well, like I said, guys, I really liked Hayden Fleury. I think he just got really, really, really unfortunate. Just you know, being moved around so many times. But anyway, guys, appreciate you watching. Feel free to like, subscribe, comment, all of that good jazz that you hate when people say to you. But have a good night. Thank you.